Hi everyone, I am Lucy Wright. I'm a National Marketing Director in the business, and I have the pleasure tonight of interviewing Tiana Thomas, who has been in the business the same time as I have. So we both joined in 2015. Tiana actually joined this business when her son was about 8 weeks old. So if anyone has a small baby who is struggling or maybe thinks that it's quite difficult, it's a great call for you to have joined, because Tiana actually built her business to National Marketing Director in just 13 months. So I'm going to hand you over to Tiana. Let me just ask you, Tiana, to unmute yourself and share a little bit of your story with us, please.
Hello, can you hear me okay? I had to come on my phone because my laptop's just being a mare.
Perfect. Yeah, loud and clear.
Cool. So I am Tiana. I've been in the business now for 6 years. Prior to this business, I was actually homeless. I was in £16,000 worth of debt. I was going to food banks to feed me and my family, and I was just desperate for something different to happen in my life. And at that time, there was nothing there for me, if that made sense. So I left school when I was 15, and I was homeless ever since then, really. And I was like trying to, I wanted to do better in life, but I didn't know how to do better in life, if that makes sense. And I know if anyone understands, like if anyone's been through the things I've been through, you'll understand, because I was always one of these people that would never see a good side of anything, and I'd never think that I was anything worth any sort of success or any kind of, good in life as such. So I always doubted myself in many, many things. I quit school, quit college, quit everything. I tried a job, it lasted 2 weeks. That didn't happen. And that was where I was at, really. I was at one of them people, I just didn't know where I was going to go. And I was on medication. I was signed off sick because of my mental health. And I was on loads of medication every day, and I just didn't know who I was. And then I fell pregnant with my son, and I think then I thought, well, I need to sort my life out. But again, I didn't know how. I was a mum, right? I was just becoming a new mum. I was still in a shared house. I was still on benefits, obviously, and I just had no idea what I was going to do. All I knew is I was going to be a mum. When my son was born in January 2015, he was born with heart conditions, and I just remember sitting there in the hospital thinking, wow, like I can't even afford to go home and back again the same day. I can't afford to get on a bus. I can't afford to go and get a get well soon balloon when all the other kids in the ward had. And I know that sounds so petty and silly, but at that time I just thought, I'm literally helpless. Like, what? I don't have nothing to give. And I know love's enough, but I wanted more. I wanted to give my child more than what I had growing up. And I never wanted to repeat the childhood that I had. And so I just, again, still had no idea what I was going to do. And I had my son home. I think it was about 8 weeks old he was. And my sister was like hounding me to join this online business. And I was like, no, I only ever use social media. Well, I only ever use Facebook. I didn't have a clue about all the other ones, but I only ever use Facebook to bitch about things, moan about my life, all of that. That's all I ever use Facebook for. And when people was like approaching me about joining this business, if I'm honest, I laughed about it. I said it was a scam. I laughed at people. I remember actually doing a status about it, like bitching about it, which is so embarrassing now. But I genuinely was one of them people. Was like, oh my God, what a scam. Like, these people are just muggy, rah, 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 rah. And I was just so anti Juice Plus, well, anti anything on social media. But my sister was like, well, what have you got to lose? It's £50 to sign up. I asked her to give me the money. I remember saying, can you just give me that £50 so I can go and do food shopping? Like, I don't want to be a part of this business. It's not going to do anything for me. And I'm so grateful that she didn't say, yeah, have the money. She signed me up. She paid for my sign-up fee, filled in the form for me, because again, I was absolutely sure I was not doing this. So I was just like forced into joining, and it was the best thing that ever happened. And I know people are like, well, how? And when I joined this business, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing. Didn't know about the promotions, didn't know about payline points. I had no idea. I literally just joined and just knew I needed to get orders to get money. because I was desperate to make money, right? So I literally just went all guns blazing. I thought, do you know what? I've got nothing to lose now. I'm in it. I might as well try and make some money. And I just literally ran with it. I had 150 friends on Facebook when I joined this business. So take note of that. 150 friends. I didn't have Instagram, Twitter, none of the other jazz. It was just my Facebook profile. And I built my business very, very fast. So within, my first month, I think it was 13 days. I joined in the middle of March. By the end of March, I hit the first 2 promotions and I got paid £790. And I remember the day before the payday, I waited up until 12 o'clock at night because I was still sure, even though I was promoting this business, I was still sure that it was a scam. Sounds bizarre, doesn't it? Like I've just been willingly to join a scam. But honestly, I thought that they were not going to pay me money. So I stayed up till 12 o'clock midnight until my money went in my bank. And I was like, oh my God. And again, some people are going to think this sounds silly, but I had never seen £790 in my bank account ever before. So I was so proud and so happy that I was able to do that with an 8-week-old baby. Yeah, within 13 days. And I thought, do you know what? There's nothing else I want to do. This is it now. Like if I've made £790 in 13 days, I can double that next month. And that was always my determination. And I really, really just ran with it. And then within 13 months, I hit national marketing director. So I was able to move us in a house. I was able to pay off a lot of my debt. I was literally able to do so much, become benefit free, and was able to do just generally so much for my business. My charger is apparently not working, and I don't know why. How annoying. So I was able to do so much from this business from straight away in my first year of joining. I never ever thought that what I achieved was possible when I joined. Like I said, I didn't think I was going to make absolutely nothing, never mind that money in that time, and hitting national marketing director in 13 months of joining. And then obviously I've been in the business 6 years, so what's happened since then? And for me, like, my business has been a roller coaster, and that's because my life is not an easy sailing life. Like family things happen and dramas happen in my life quite frequently, unfortunately. And when I joined this business, I was obviously with my son's dad, and he was domestically violent to me, and was, controlling with my money. And no matter if I got to NMD or not, I never still had a lot of money because he would just take everything. And I never really noticed it back then. And I used to have to hide away and lock myself in the bathroom just to get on a Zoom call, or run down into my car just to get on a Zoom call, because I just knew that when I got with my son's dad, I was in a place where I didn't even know who I was. And I just clung hold of him. And I knew as I grew in this business, within just my first year, I realized how much worth I had for myself. And from that point, I just started slowly realizing just how much more I deserved. And it took me a long time, don't get me wrong, but in the 2018, I was so close to IMD. The month later, I would have hit it, but the month later, I left my son's dad. And then the week after that, I lost my nephew. So my business just come tumbling down again. And that was the second time it come dropping down, because the first time I stopped working because I genuinely thought, I'm NMD now, I'm a baller. And I genuinely did think that. And I didn't understand the business concept at that point. And it takes time to kind of understand. And I would suggest doing your research first and knowing a little bit about it if you want to progress in the business, so you know what you got to do. And I did drop it, and then I picked it back up again. I was so close, and I dropped it again. And do you know what? Like, it's always been one of them things where it's up and down. But for me, this business is what gets me through absolutely everything, the ups and the downs. And there is a lot of downs, unfortunately, in my surroundings. Well, there were, not so much now. And I've just been able to just grow my business. I've got, I live in my house now. I've got my car that I always wanted. My kids never go without. And I've been able to do just so much over the years that I just never would have thought was possible. I never ever thought I would have been able to do it from this business or anything in that matter, because I never thought I had that, that inside me. I just never thought I was good enough, right? And I think this business, more than money or anything itself, has given me a lot of self-worth. I know who I am, and I know what I want, and I know what I deserve. And I think it's grown my confidence more than anything else in the world. So yeah, that's literally my my story in a nutshell.
I love that. I love your story. I love where you've come from, and you know where you're going with this business as well. It's amazing. And you know, you're an inspiration, because you're someone who has stuck around through the bad times, because you know the value of this business and what it can do for you. So I love that. But Tiana, you mentioned your customers and how important they were to you at the start. But I also know that you recruited like 100 people in your first year. So tell us a bit about that, because that's a big number, right? But also you achieved a lot in your first year. So what happened there? How did you go about doing that?
I think for me, like when I joined this business, I was so excited, and I still am now. And that's why every single month, regardless, I will bring in new people, because I am so excited about what this business has done for me, and or more so what it can do for other people. And I just joined this business and was like, I don't even know, if I'm honest, at the beginning, I don't even know how I got team members in my first month. All I know is I was so excited, unstoppable. If there was anything going on, I was there. If anything, like any calls, if anyone said go and do something, I would do it tenfold. Like I would literally I wouldn't care. I would just be relentless. And I think the reason why I recruited so much, and I still do now, is because I am passionate, and I know what this business is enabled me to do, but other people. And when I started, I didn't have a massive story to tell. And I think a lot of people get caught up in thinking, well, you know, you're successful and you can get team members because you've got a good story to tell. And that's absolutely rubbish, because the higher you get in the business, the less realistic it sounds to normal people, right? Like what we are able to achieve in this business isn't normal, like as such. And I think people don't relate to that, as when I joined this business, and when I was able to go and pay for Sky TV for the first time ever, instead of a, you know, aerial in the back of my TV, I posted about it and was like, this business has enabled me to help, like being able to do this for me. And when I was able to go and buy my son brand new clothes, considering everything he had prior to that was from, you know, buying sales sites and stuff, I posted about it. I was never afraid to post about things that I didn't have, because people need to see the progression. And I think people buy into the business still to this day after watching me 5-6 years, because they watched me and I told my story from day one. I told the lows. I'm not afraid to admit the lows, and still to this day, I'm not afraid to admit my dips in the business. It happens. No one can tell me that business doesn't dip in any industry. It's just normal. Especially when when things happen in life. But I feel like recruiting for me is one of my biggest passions, and you've got to put it in perspective, right? When you're in this business, the truth be told, you can get loads of orders, but you're just going to remain a salesman. That's what you are. If you're getting just orders, if you're getting a team and you're teaching them to do you're then building an organization and a stable like business for you and your future, because it comes with team. Like the bigger, you know, you can't grow the ladder without a team. And if you want to grow the ladder, then you need a team. And I just think if you get it in straight away, it makes it so much easier to then just keep going through the compensation plan. And that's why I never struggled like reconfirming. I always reconfirmed. I never missed a month, and it was always a promotion after a promotion every single month, because I never ever stopped going and keep getting the team members, right? And I think that's very, very important. And you are going to find yourself recruiting a lot of people and they do nothing. I mean, I think for me that happens quite often because of the sort of audience that I do generally have, unfortunately. But I just think you've just got to keep going through the numbers, and the more you're recruiting, the more numbers you've got to filter through, and then that's how you're going to get more people, you know, growing within your business.
And something you touched on there, which rings true to me as well. So I had a new team member join last week, and I've known her for years. And in fact, she said to me, she has been watching me, and I quote, for 5 years. I think I offered her the business when I first started. She pretty much laughed at me, told me absolutely no. But we've stayed in touch. And last week, the week after the free sign up, she messaged me and just said, okay, I'm going to do it. And it was just because that was the right time for her. So the fact that you've been consistent and then people come back to you, it's exactly the same for everybody else as well. So absolutely love that. And that's definitely something you did as well on the free weekend, right? Tell everyone how many people joined your frontline on the free weekend.
So I personally recruited 120, but I stacked 40 and I put 80 underneath myself, frontline. And between our team, we recruited so many people, so many. But listen, don't get it twisted. Like, they're not all working, and I think a lot of people think, oh, I wish I had that many. But it's just more people that I've had to filter through. Unfortunately, there's someone unmuted on here. Yeah, so I had a lot of people to filter through, obviously, and that's just how it works. People, if they have something for free, they think that they're going to get something for nothing, and you don't. Unfortunately, you had a free sign up. That was a massive, and if people don't run with that, that's their loss, because there's people like, you know, myself and Lucy that have paid a sign-up fee, and many other people in here paid a sign-up fee and managed to change our lives from it. So if you don't want to change your life with a free opportunity, more for you, hon. Do you know, like, that's down to you, not me. And I think you've got to have that attitude and just think, do you know what it is? If you've got one person out of that, you know, free sign up, then great, run with that one person. Don't sit there and think, oh, I signed up 10 but only one's working. So what? That's one more than you had the week before, and you've just got to keep on running with that person. Like, that person could potentially change your whole business. Out of the 80 that I put frontline under me, I would say about 10 are really, really good workers, and I'd say about 50 did absolutely not one thing. And that is the ratio. Okay, so never mind, it's okay. But yeah, that's what happened for me on that weekend. Crazy, right?
So you didn't sleep for a whole weekend then, pretty much?
No, I didn't do anything. I didn't shower for 2 days. Honestly, I stunk. I was like, this is not normal. I need to go and shower. And you know what? Like, a lot of people will probably feel like this. You spent all that time and effort pushing to get them team members for them to do nothing. And you think, what's the point? But the thing is, and people get this twisted as well, like how we worked that weekend, you probably was the same, relentless. That's how I worked to get to NMD every single day for the solid year. And I think that's what people need to understand. Like, if you can relentlessly work that hard on a like, what, 30 hours we had, with a couple of days prior to that, like, what, 3 days was really, really pushing. If people really did that on a regular basis, your business will just go through the roof quicker than you'll ever believe.
Exactly. And I know that, like, the same for you, Tiana, like the same is definitely for customers as well. Like, you work from a customer perspective and a team member perspective. Like, I know both are equally important to you. So you always bring in new customers every month as well, don't you? So one question I did want to ask you is, you know, like all businesses, as you say, when things dip, you know, when things take a turn for the worst, or, you know, you think they're not as busy as what they should be, how do you keep going? Like, do you do self-development? Like, how do you keep your mind focused and positive and just keep going, really?
Well, I think the main important thing for me, because obviously I've had many dips in my business, and I think a lot of things have come in the way, and a lot of people would say to me, why don't you just give up? Like, or, you know, I have had that, and I'm like, absolutely not. And don't get me wrong, there has been times where I'm like, do you know what, F this, I'm done. But it's okay to sack yourself for 10 minutes, just give yourself a wake-up call and remember why the hell you joined in the first place. Because no matter what, if I went and got an ordinary job, I wouldn't get paid what I do on this job, and with the freedom that I've got with it. Nothing's going to compare to it. Regardless, I'll go and jump to another company, I'm still going to have the same thing. Nothing's going to be different, other than I've got, like, when you're having a dip, you've just got to remember you've got to level up more than what you did before. Because if you can push and do more, then you're going to get more. And never ever compare yourself to the best month. So how many of us are right now sitting back on last year thinking, oh my God, on the charts thinking, wow, my orders are so down from last year, what the hell's going on, business is shit, I'm not doing great. You know, loads of people were seeing that graph last year. Last year is not something to compare to. It wasn't normal. Everyone was stuck indoors. No one had anything to spend money on. No one could go to the gym. It wasn't normal. And this and if you sit there and try and hold on to a business in that sort of way, then you're not ever going to grow a sustainable business. So whatever you done last year, congratulations, well done, but don't compare yourself to that, because this is a completely new year, completely new chapter. And right now you've got to understand and take into consideration that the world's just open up again. People are going to want to get out there and do things and enjoy themselves. You know, people that sat on Facebook usually last year buying stuff from us and spending money on what they need to, like, with their family and stuff. And if you're going to sit there and say, fuck this, I give up, because people are going to enjoy themselves for a few months, then again, more for you, because every time business will drop, but business will always pick back up again. But you have to remain grounded to yourself and be disciplined. So for me, I know that last month I slacked until that bonanza, and I was like, yes, I'm giving it all. And then my fellow was like, that's how hard you work, so why are you not doing that normally? And I was like, well, I need to do that. I need to do that more and sort myself out and give myself a kick up the arse. And that's why I sit there and think, I do this full time. My kids go to school 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. That should be me working. If that's for my business, that's what I should be doing and dedicating that time. And if you're not disciplined, again, it's not going to progress. You have to take it seriously. This is a real job, a real business, but you have to take it seriously. And I think when you have a setback, it's easy to just let that control every month, and then you have more of a setback and a setback and a setback, because listen, I've done it. I've had that setback and watched it just drop, and did absolutely nothing about it apart from sit there and cry. I literally didn't. I just moaned about it, when I could have just thought, do you know what, snap out of this. And every time that I have bounced back, I thought, do you know what, I need to snap out of this. And I do turn to personal development. I think if you're not doing that, then your head is just going to go in the completely wrong direction, and it's not going to be any good for you or your business.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And it's, you know, you have to, as you say, you've got to be disciplined in this business. And if those are your hours where you're committed, you know, when the kids are at school type thing, and then you might be doing a little bit in the evening or before the school run or whatever it takes, like, there's no one standing behind you saying, Tiana, you've got to do this, but you know your why and your vision. So you almost have to make yourself do it, and do it every single day. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
I think when you look back on your why, sorry babe, when you look back on your why, you've got to remember, like, if I sit there and think about my why, and I think about if I don't have it, and then I get that feeling and I feel sick, and I'm like, that is strong enough for me. Like, I don't ever want to live but the way I lived before, and I have like that makes me sick to my stomach. And I think if your why isn't that strong, where the thought without it makes you sick, then it's not strong enough, because if you don't feel sick without it, then you don't believe that you're going to have it. So I visually can see that I'm having it, so the thought of not having it makes me feel sick. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And you know, I think it's important as well to acknowledge that your why can change throughout your journey in this business. So when you first start, you might have a why or a reason to do this, like what you did, which is completely different now to why you're doing it. And I'm the same as well. Like, I'm at the minute, I'm 33 weeks pregnant. We would never have been able to have this baby without Juice Plus, because we've had to pay for fertility treatment. And to just pull that money out and just go, well, there you go, we're going to go with the best doctors because we've been able to, thank God, I'm so lucky. Like, we would never ever have been able to do that. So the whys do change, and the reasons to work in this business do change as you go along, definitely.
Absolutely.
But Tiana, you also, I just want to touch on your product story as well, because I, for one, like you've seen, you know, I'm always tagging you in posts and sharing your pictures, and because, you know, you're a real person. You know, there's lots of people that do this for different reasons, but you have an amazing transformation. You know, your pictures are out there for everyone to see. The proof is in the pudding, and you've really walked the walk. So tell us, what difference has that made, having your own product story for your business?
Absolutely massive. And I want to touch on this actually a second, because actually before I got on, when I joined this business, I couldn't afford the products. And I wasn't actually on the products when I first joined this business, but I made sure that I worked hard for the 13 days to then make sure that I had enough money to buy my products on the payday out of my Juice Plus pay. So it was like, in theory, I was having it for free. And that was what I did. And I'm not going to lie, when I tried it, back then it was ranked. The formula was just, I don't know what they did back then, but wow, it was shocking. And I just couldn't stomach it. I really, really couldn't stomach it. So I went on the other products and I was just like, that's not for me. So I wasn't really getting weight loss results because I wasn't on a weight loss product, right? I wasn't following a diet. And when I was earning loads of money, I was just being lazy and buying loads of takeaways. And that's generally what I do. I have these ups and downs moments. And don't get me wrong, I was always getting orders, but I never had, I didn't really have much people like have belief in me, if that made sense. When people would see me, I just know that they would like take the piss out of what I'm doing because I'm like size 24, do you know what I mean, twaddling down the road, and I can't even like do anything, and that's where I had to make a change. And I remember, you know, thinking that I was nearly 19 stone, I was 18 and something stone, and I was just like, wow, I'm only 5 foot. So I was literally just like a ball, and I needed to do something about it, and I felt awful all the time. And obviously before I lost the weight, obviously I was gaining loads and loads of weight, but my ex would just constantly put me down every single day, to the point I was self-harming and things like that. And it was terrible. And that's when I was still in this business. And he was probably the biggest person that would put me down and put business and everything down. But he was that was the reason more so to get rid, and obviously to focus on me because of the dramas. And when I did that, I just thought, this is my time to really shine. This is my time to get me and find me. Because like I said, I didn't even know myself when I met him because I was in a very dark place mentally. So I didn't know who I was. And I started finding myself through this business. And it got more so where I was thinking, I want to just feel good. I want to feel confident. And I don't want people to constantly like judge me and things like that. And you know, I just ran with that. And I think within eight months, it's really difficult because I've got so many different results from different time frames. But I think in the total of, I'd say 12 months to stay safe, I lost 5.5 stone. And I literally just, it just made me feel completely different. And honestly, since lockdown, my orders went through the roof, admittedly. And since lockdown, and getting with Lewis, and I definitely blame him, I've gained 2 stone. But that's just, and if I'm honest again, I ate so many takeaways all last year. It was unbelievable. And I am just one of them people. I get lazy and I think, I've got money, I'll just spend it on some food. And I'm a bit like that. And I just think I had to get out of that. And I think I have been struggling to get orders the last month, and I never do. And I know for a fact it's because I haven't been walking the walk. I have not been showing me using the products, talking about the products, you know, doing the easy content. I haven't been doing that. And the last 6 days, I think I've been on plan now, and I've been posting my progression every single day. And I've lost 5 pounds, which I'm really happy about. And yeah, I just think if you have a story to tell, I'm really real and honest as well. When people say to me, you've lost loads of weight, I say I have put on 2 stone. Like, I'm never, ever going to lie. Like, we're women. Our weight goes up and down all the time, and that's just how it goes. And I'm not afraid to admit that. And I talk openly about it on social media too, about my, you know, when I go into my bad eating habits and I just constantly binge eat and things like that. I do openly talk about that. And I think it's very, very important to be really real and honest. Like, are you taking the, like, showing you on the product, or are you actually using the product? And you've got to think about that really strongly, because if you are talking to your audience saying that you are using your products every single day, but they are not seeing any results, who are you fooling? Who are you fooling? So when I'm not on plan, I am not going to lie that I am on plan and I'm going to have a shake and a booster. No, I'll show you my product still, so my capsules. But I am not going to sit there and pretend I'm doing something that I'm not doing, because they're going to be waiting for results, and then they're not going to believe in me. And I don't want that. And I think that's very, very important to gain audience trust and you know, loyalty.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to be relatable, isn't it? So if you are, for example, it was my anniversary the weekend, so I went out for dinner, I posted everything. And then this week I'm like, because you can feel it, you can absolutely feel it when you've had a weekend where you've been out for dinner and you've eaten all the wrong things. So posting that and then coming back down to actually back on plan now, I do feel much better 24 hours later. It's so relatable, as you say.
Absolutely. And I think when you're struggling to get orders, the best thing that you could possibly do is throw yourself into a plan and get on it. Get yourself some results. You can get yourself results in 2 weeks if you really, really give it some, and run with it and get people to join you on your journey. Make a little group just for maybe you and these people that want to do a challenge with you, and really, really work with them. And then you're going to get more people in your challenge, and so on and so forth. And that's always like when I struggle with orders, that's what I do. I'm like, right, I'm going to get myself on a challenge. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to walk the walk, and then I'm going to get people to join me. And that's what you need to do. And that's what I'm currently doing now this month, because my orders are not as high as they usually are this time of year. So I'm going to do more than what I was doing to get more up.
That. Do you put everyone into like a WhatsApp chat or into a Facebook group? What will you recommend?
You can make Facebook groups. So I've made Facebook groups, I've made WhatsApp group chats, and I find the best thing for me is WhatsApp. Like, they always work for me, and I just think even if there's like 3 of us, it doesn't matter. It's a starting point, and you've always got to remember that even if it just starts with your team, like doing a walk-in challenge. I think we've started a bums and tums challenge, bums and tums challenge, and we're doing like 2 workouts live a week together on a Zoom call, and we're doing a walk-in challenge as well. Like, I think because obviously some people can't do the like full workout, so we're trying to do things different. And I think if you're thinking about that, and when I started this business, right at the beginning, I did this. I made a group on Facebook, and I said, who wants to join my free support group to do a free 10-day shred with me? And I give them free content. But in that group, I was posting about my shakes, my boost, well, not my boost at the time, but my progression, and I was getting better results than them because I was using the product. So they were like, right, I need this product. And I think if you give free value, everyone respects that so much more, and they will buy into you.
So groups, free value, do it yourself, and then the orders will come later. Absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Tiana.
No worries.
It's been really great interviewing you, and yeah, nice to catch up with you again. We haven't spoken to you in ages.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. I'm gonna stop the recording now, guys, and we will